Yes. All right, focus up, people. Scott Wilson checking in with Dumbass Contractors, your daily briefing. You know the drill: like, subscribe, comment, make the algorithms go wild, and let's do it. Sequencing. All right. Biggest problem that people have on job sites is with the correct order that aspects of the job have to be completed in. When I walk into a train wreck, a job that's gotten out of control, and I'm brought in to wrangle the cattle and get it ride herd, get things moving again. First thing I look at is what's out of sequence, what needed to be done that wasn't done. Like, did they rough in the plumbing before they hung the sheetrock, or did they forget to do an electrical inspection before before the roof was put on? Most of the time, the problem and the magic happens that I unlock it by getting things up to sequence. The things that didn't get done have to be done, and that will unlock the project. The trick to doing that is to knowing what the sequence is and what's out of sequence, and it takes years to learn how to do that. My neighbor recently came to me and needed a second opinion. His contractor told him that he needed to do a retaining wall behind his house. They had already put a Four Seasons sunroom on the back of the house on stilts, and the contractor had really been serious in his advice to the client that he needed to do a retaining wall. And so I went over and I looked at it real quick, and yeah, there it was a steep slope. There'd been a lot of erosion behind the house, and the foundation the soil around the foundation was eroded down to the footings. You were looking at about $150,000 retaining wall. You had to bring in a couple hundred yards of RCA to backfill, probably 2,000 block. No machinery, couldn't get any machinery in there, so it all had to be dug by hand, all had to be brought down the side of the house. Very complicated process. The permit process would have taken 2 years with engineering and requirements of the town. But he had already built his sunroom where the retaining wall needed to be built. Now that's a serious sequencing problem. Your house is ready to slide down a hill. You need a retaining wall, but you've built a Four Seasons sunroom on stilts right where you need to dig and undermine the soil and bring soil in. So you right now, that $150,000 retaining wall probably became a $200,000 retaining wall. And the neighbor told me that was exactly what his contractor told me, that they were out of sequence, but they didn't see the need for the retaining wall. They didn't. They just wanted some more space, and the cheapest space that they could possibly get in the house. So I just concurred with their contractor. I told him, your contractor is correct. You do need a retaining wall. It will take a long time to get there. You'll probably have to take the sunroom off to get your permits, and then put the sunroom back on. And that's probably going to bring it up to a $250,000 retaining wall. You're probably not going to be able to save that sunroom. Now that puts it out of their budget. They don't have the $250,000 to do the project. The slope will continue to erode. Their foundation will become undermined. If we get a heavy rain storm, like sometimes the storms will hit Long Island, they'll come right out of the Atlantic and dump 6, 7, 8 inches of water a day on us for 6 or 7 days straight. And the soil can liquefy at that point. And the spot where this house is, this soil is very clay-like. And what happens to that clay is it turns into ball bearings. and the house will want to slide down the slope. I don't know what to tell the guy. I don't know. I can only be honest and tell them what they need to hear, not what they want to hear. I'm sure that he wanted to hear that he was right and that the sunroom was perfectly fine where it was and that they really didn't need to do a retaining wall. But I agreed with their contractor that they should have done the retaining wall first. They should have followed that sequencing. They should have lived in a smaller house until they had the house stabilized. Otherwise, you have your sunroom and your house in a pile of rubble at the bottom of the hill, and you wake up in a mud bath. I think that the most important thing is to hire for sequencing is to hire a skilled general contractor / designer. That's my skill set. I can design kitchens and baths. I'm pretty good with paint colors, excellent with millwork, making a house look right, making the exterior of the house fit the street. You need to bring in somebody who's very skilled. This is gonna be somebody who's in their 40s, 50s, and 60s that knows houses inside and out, and listen to them and follow their advice and do things in the right order. Otherwise, you pay a huge price. Now, maybe these folks are hoping that they get an insurance check. Probably what'll happen is part of the foundation will become undermined, and their insurance company will drop them like a hot rock, or hot potato. Why would anyone want to insure a building that someone's not maintaining properly? First thing we do is we get the foundation stable, the windows sealed, the roof seaworthy. Then you worry about decorating the inside. Then you worry about your space. This is shelter. This is your primary place to get out of the weather. And you really need some good, strong advice, and you need to listen to that advice. Just because your contractor tells you something that you don't want to hear doesn't mean that they're not right. Sequencing, get stuff in order. I don't put sheetrock in until all of my subs are done with their rough-ins. All of my inspections, my frame inspection, my fire underwriters for the rough on the electric, my plumbing inspection. I got to pass all that stuff. I want to pressurize my plumbing system. Yeah, it takes an extra couple days to set it up and to pass that test. But what happens when we go to fill the plumbing in the house and there's 20 leaks? Even if they're small, especially if they're small leaks, I really want to know those small leaks. A drip every, a little hair from the flux brush will get caught in the fittings when the plumbers are soldering, and it'll leave a tiny, tiny little hole. And that filament will be in there, and that filament, it'll start to weep a little bit. It'll wick moisture through, and then that filament will deteriorate, and then it'll start to leak. I want to know those things before I put my sheetrock on. I want to get my sequencing correct. Footings, foundation, frame, roof, windows, siding. Get everything roughed in. Sheetrock, paint. Do it in the right order. It takes a lot less time, costs a lot less money, and you get a much better product, a much more comfortable house to live in. That's what you want. You want comfort. That's really what you want. You want a comfortable house, not necessarily a big house. A comfortable, well-designed, well-built house will serve you for decades. Low maintenance, low operating costs. All right, the cheapest barrel of oil is the one you don't burn. All right, sequencing. Get it in order. Learn the order. All right, all my baby tradesmen, start learning the proper order for doing work. And if you're out of sequence, get it back in sequence. Dial it back in. All right, that's today's topic. Scott Wilson with Dumbass Contractors checking out. We're burning daylight. Let's get at it. Stay in front of it. Stay loose. Have a good day. Wilson out.